Ever since generative AI tools made their way into the public consciousness and into our daily lives, one of the most hotly debated topics in higher education has been learning assessment. And in the beginning, it really boiled down to, will students use these tools to cheat? And will this make our jobs harder in higher education? So, first, let's be clear what we mean about learning assessment. We're not talking about large scale institutional assessment or program evaluation or those types of assessment related activities that happen at institutions. We're really talking about gauging what students have learned in our courses. The definition that we provide in the report is a systematic process of gathering, interpreting, and using evidence to determine what students know, value, and are able to do as a result of their educational experiences. So think of all the things we do in higher education to evaluate what students have learned in our courses. It can be exams and quizzes and those types of things that we normally think of, but it can be some really out of the box things too that you might not normally think of, capstone projects or skills demonstrations, for example. And because this has been such a hotly debated topic in higher education, this is the focus of the current research that's in this report. We wanted to really dive deep into this topic instead of just getting the bird's eye view of the impact of AI on learning assessment. And in order to do that, we went straight to the people who are doing the work on the ground on a day-to-day basis. So these are people who are currently employed by an institution of higher education and for whom creating or delivering assessments is a day-to-day job responsibility. So think of people like faculty, instructional designers, even some professional development professionals if they're working directly with faculty to create assessments. These are the type of folks that we wanted to talk to, so that we're not just speculating about what could be happening on our campuses, but we know exactly what's happening directly from the people who are doing the work. We dug into questions around not only how our respondents are using AI tools themselves, but how they believe students are using AI tools. So there's a pretty interesting story here because faculty and staff who work directly with learning assessment in higher education, they not only have AI impacting the way they work on a day-to-day basis, but they have AI potentially being used by students in ways that sometimes the faculty and staff are supporting and encouraging, and sometimes faculty and staff don't want students to use them. And so we looked at both of those types of cases. Most faculty and staff, it turns out, are using AI tools in some way to help them with assessment. So that could be creating assessments, creating exam questions, creating prompts, things like that. And most of them believe that students are using AI tools when taking assessments. But here's the twist that perhaps is unexpected. Only 28% of our respondents believe that when students use AI tools on assessments, that use is always or often unauthorized, so cheating. So that's kind of an interesting finding in that a lot of the common discourse around AI tools and assessment is that students primarily use these tools to cheat. But our findings don't support that. So what's next for faculty and staff who are grappling with the proliferation of AI tools as they design and deliver learning assessments in higher education? Primarily, what our respondents are looking for is flexibility in the ways that they are supported by their institution. They want to be supported to either explore and use AI tools if they feel that that's in the best interest of their particular students and courses, but they also want support to not have to use AI tools for instruction if they feel that that's the best option for them and their students. They also see that there's a need for developing best practices. This is still an emergent area, even though it feels like we've all been on this journey for so long now. We still don't agree widely across teaching and learning professionals on what the best practices are for integrating or not integrating AI tools in learning assessment practices. A good example of this is that some of our respondents to our survey said that they do use AI tools to help grade student work and provide feedback to students, whereas other respondents said they would never use AI tools for that purpose and, in fact, find it unethical to do so. So it's just one example of many where we really need to explore as a field together and come to a shared understanding of what some of these best practices are. Another interesting finding of this research was that most of our respondents selected at least 3 items from a long list of items that would be potential supports, such as professional development for them in supporting their continued, let's say, AI literacy, for example. And what this says to me, the fact that most people chose 3 or more items from the list, is that our community doesn't identify any one kind of resource that is going to be the key to unlocking the perfect feature of AI in higher education. What our community really needs is a multi-pronged approach to support them as they explore the use of AI tools in learning assessment. And it's really important to remember that anytime we talk about engaging with AI tools for any instructional purpose, we're not only talking about the best ways to use those tools, we're also talking about learning when to identify the times that those tools shouldn't be used, and having the freedom to choose that.